Here's a new word, okay? It's called an ogive. It's like ogive. It's kind of fun to say. And it's something that is what we call a cumulative frequency plot, okay? And if you remember last class, we talked about frequency plots, didn't we? Or frequency tables. And we learned how in the calculator to add that frequency in, remember that? So we didn't have to write one number 15 times and that kind of thing. Okay, so it's kind of an extension of that, but we're cumulative now. Cumulative means that we're going to, at the end, have all the data sets added together. So let's look at this particular table that I have here, and it's the heights, plant heights for 80 plants grown in a laboratory. Because it has a total of 80 plants, that means that the very last number should be an 80. Because we're going to accumulate until we get to all of them. Okay? So you'll see what I mean in a minute. Between 10 and 20, I think it's centimeters? Yes. Between 10 and 20 centimeters, we only had one little guy. So our cumulative frequency is just 1 at this point. 20 to 30, we had 5. So what should the cumulative frequency be here? 6, because you're simply adding the 1 and the 5. Okay? If you would like to print these off, I will put them on School Fusion, so you're not so worried about writing down all these numbers. That's fine with me. I'm okay with that. I would much rather you be engaged and paying attention than too busy copying things down. But it's whatever you're comfortable with, okay? At this point, we're going to go ahead and we have 7 more plants to add to our cumulative frequency. So 6 plus 7 is 13. 13 and 9, we have 9 more. 22. Okay. 48, 62, 72. Oh, and good, 72 plus 8 is 80. So it worked, okay? You're basically calculating the cumulative frequency. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a plot, and that plot is called an ogive, or it's called a cumulative frequency plot, either one. And there's really 2 ways for us to be able to graph it. On the vertical axis, you have a choice. You can have what the frequency is, or what the cumulative frequency is, or you can have the percent. Okay, cumulative frequency, or sometimes it's called the cumulative relative frequency. Relative means percent. Okay, so cumulative frequency, and then you would have the lengths here. Okay, so let's actually take these numbers and let's create a graph that would go along with them. Okay, I think on the next page I had an actual graph, so I do. Okay, so we need to do one. Well, should we do the relative or should we do the lengths? I think for now we'll just do the regular old cumulative frequency. The reason I talk about that is because in your homework it gives it to you as a percent. So maybe we should change them to percents. I think we should, so it's consistent with what you have to do at home. Okay? So let's do the cumulative relative frequency. You guys had to do relative frequencies in your summer assignment or your part 1 of your univariate packet. So all you have to do is take each number and divide by 80. What percent should we be at the end? 100%. Because 80 divided by 80 is 100%. What is 1 divided by 80? Which is what as a percent? 1 divided by 80. 0.0125. Okay? So we could say about 1.25%. How about 6 divided by 80? Do you see where I'm going with this? And we have about 7.5%. I'm just going to make a little table so I don't. Okay? Just making sure that we're understanding what I'm doing here. 13 divided by 80. And I get 16.25%. Okay, and so forth and so on. Are we okay so far? Again, the difference between cumulative frequency, those are just the counts. The cumulative relative frequency, we convert them to percents. That's the only difference. And we have seen, and ogives can be distributed, they can be displayed both ways. All right, so let's just continue filling this out. 22 divided by 80. I have 27.5%. I'm just going to write it sideways to make life easier. 32 divided by 80. I have 40%. These percents are going to come in handy when we talk about quartiles here in a minute. 60%. Where does the median lie, knowing what I just wrote down? So somewhere around here, would you agree we have the median? Because it's where the 50 percentile is. That's the middle. Would you agree? So we can estimate it approximately there. And when we draw our ogive, the ogive actually gives us a really good estimator of what it exactly is. So we'll do that in a minute. All right, so 62 divided by 80. So we have 77.5%. And then 72 divided by 80. And we should have 90%. Yeah, and you are going to find quartile 1. Quartile 1 is associated with what percent? You want to sit up here so you can see better? Come on. She'll move her book bag. She doesn't bite. At least not that I know of. I'll say the question again. What quartile what percent does quartile 1 associate with? 25%. What percent does quartile 3 associate with? 75%. Could you estimate maybe what the IQR is? Not necessarily from this, but from an ogive, yes. Okay? So what I'd like us to do is I would like us to create an ogive based on this information. So we're going to go 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 100. So let's just kind of create an ogive here. And we're going to go, let's see, we'll probably go up by 10. I think we'll have enough room to go up by 2s. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Nope. All right. Maybe if I go all the way over, it will work. Okay, we'll go all the way over. Fine, be that way. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Oops. Of course, I messed that up. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, just creating a scale. And what was the, if I'm going to label it properly, how do I label that? What are those numbers associated? Do you remember? Plant heights in centimeters. So you really do need to know that. It's always what's measured. Okay, goes on the horizontal axis. Frequencies or cumulative frequencies or relative frequencies always go on the vertical axis, much like what we did over here. We're going to continue this next class. The frequencies are on the vertical axis. Now we're going to graph the cumulative relative frequency, so we're going to do percents, and you should label that. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of room, but we'll do that. We'll do 5, 10%, 5%, 15, 20. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? I can't go up by 5s. I don't have enough room, so I'm going to have to go up by 10s. That's going to be an awful thing. All right, so we'll say 10, 20, and these should be percents now. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. We'll go up one more, 100. Off the charts. I didn't make my thing big enough. So now we're going to have to plot each point. And what we'll do after we plot each point is make a smooth curve. Okay? So I'm going to start by plotting the first point, which is 1.25. Where do I include it? Between 10 and 20, right? So where should we plot the point? At 10, at 20, or in the middle of them?
Towards 20.
Middle. Okay? We're going to plot it in the middle. Because it's not exactly 10. It's not, we don't know how many data values are in there. Okay? Well, 1. We don't know if it's closer to 10 or 20. All right, so we're going to plot it in the middle. So at the number 15, we're going to go at 1.25%. So at the number 15, we're going to make a little dot, like right there. Are you okay with where the dot came from? Come back. The next dot at 25, we're going to go to 7.5%. So at 25, we're going to go to 7.5%. Notice we're not getting big quick. That's okay. At 35, we're at 16.25%. So at 35, we're at 16.25%. You with me so far? Okay. And we're just going to continue. 45, we got to 27.5%. So 45, 27.5%. Keep going. 55 was 40%, so that's an exact one. Thank you. 60. So 55 was 60. Oops. 55 was 60%. Oh, 30, 40, 50, 60. Right? Okay. So 55, 60%. Okay. Next. There you know. It's hard if you don't. Let's see. Yeah, it was. So 77. So 75 is 77.5%. So 75, 77.5%, right about there. You seeing the shape of this curve so far? Okay. And then the last two are 90 and 100, right? So we're going to have 90 and 100. Hang on. Just watch the shape quickly. Ogives typically have a nice S shape. And this one does.
Behind the wheel registration, we are now taking applications
Yes.
behind the wheel. You can see the behind the wheel fusion page for registration.
So you have some homework. Yes. I don't want to have to collect it right now.
Are you going to collect it now?